Hey ladies and gentlemen, Krzysztof the Polish Geek and welcome to another movie review. Actually, another Polish movie review because I'm reviewing this very new Polish movie on Netflix, Colors of Evil Red, which was a really interesting, dark and gritty thriller, and I very strongly recommend it if it's available in your country. It's a really compelling thriller and there is almost no action in this movie whatsoever. I mean, there is a little bit of shooting and action, but it's only the amount really the movie needs. And as you're watching the movie, listen to the dialogues of the characters and see in what direction the story is going, you constantly are on the edge of your seat and there is strong tension and you just totally want to know where the story is going. And you're constantly at the edge of your seat as you're watching this movie. The story starts that a dead body of a young girl named Monika is found at the beach in the famous city of Sopot in Poland. I like this place a lot, by the way. And the girl's mother, as well as the prosecutor, together team up and they decide to uncover the mystery of how she was killed. And as together they examine and uncover the mystery, they learn real interesting things and some really sinister stuff. And there are some really interesting and unexpected twists and turns in the story that you will not predict. But I will not spoil them here because to truly appreciate those twists in the story, you really would have to see them for yourself. But all I will say is you're up for some really interesting and unexpected twists. So, to truly appreciate the story of this movie and the twists, you really have to go in blind because, as I said, this is one of those movies that if you already know all the twists and the story, then it isn't really such an interesting watch as it is when you really don't know anything. And I also really love the way the story is told, because the way the story is told is that it constantly switches perspectives. On one hand, it's told in a flashback form about Monika, and then there is a modern day stuff when by the point she's dead and her mother and the prosecutor together trying to uncover a mystery of what led to her death. But those flashbacks with Monika are also great because they also make Monika's death far more tragic, far more sad, because she's not just like this character from the past that was killed, but no, she's an actual character that you grow to like and you really care what happens to her. I mean, you do obviously know what happens to her because the very opening is her death, but as I said, it actually makes her death more tragic, as actually half of the movie, as I just said, is actually flashbacks of what led to her death in the first place. Colors of Evil Red has a really bleak and intense ending that already adds a lot of bleakness to an already gritty, dark and intense story, because all the things leading up to that point were already pretty bleak and dark, but the ending adds a whole different layer to it. But as I already said, I won't spoil it, but again, you're some for a really unexpected twist. The movie is like 2 hours long, although it actually seemed like story was wrapped up and there was closure, but then I saw at the runtime that there was still like 30 minutes of the movie left, so I immediately figured out that something more is about to happen, which it did. I also really love how the movie shows and contrasts the difference on feelings between the family of the victim as well as those who work to actually solve the case. And there is also an even more interesting layer to that, is that Monika's mother is actually a judge, that she works for a job, but at the same time it's her daughter. So because of that, she on the other hand works for the legal system and knows the way the procedure and things work, but at the same time it's her daughter who was murdered, so the bias also very much gets in her way. And then there is the prosecutor that cooperates with her, Leopold Bielski, and he's also very determined to make sure justice gets served and to find out who committed the murder. Especially that in the very beginning of the movie, the very first suspect is actually the boyfriend of Monika, who all the evidence points towards him, and then he commits suicide, and Leopold's boss immediately wants to close the case, saying it's over. But nope, Leopold suspects that he might not actually be the actual killer, and he's very determined to actually find out who really did it. And then stuff gets really bleak, but also really intense and interesting. And as I said, the story goes in a very interesting direction. There are some really interesting twists and turns that I will not spoil. The characters are all very compelling, especially Leopold Bielski, Monica, as well as her mother, and they are all so well written. And I also think the Polish actors who portray them do a phenomenal job. I do know that you can actually choose an English dub version for Netflix, although that's not the version I'm watching. I'm Polish, so yes, I'm watching the original Polish version, so I unfortunately can't tell you if the English dub is good or not, but at least the Polish version I think is great, and all the actors, especially the two lead actors, do a really phenomenal job of portraying the characters that they were given. I might actually even attempt to actually watch an English version at least once, just to see the difference, really. Colors of Evil Red was a really good and intense thriller, and I had a really good time watching it. And if it's on Netflix in your country, I suggest you give it a watch. And my suggestion would be to watch it in the original Polish with English subtitles. Obviously I just watched it in Polish without any subtitles, but whatever country you're from, I suggest that you probably should watch it in Polish with English subtitles. Or if you want, you can go with an English dub, whatever you want. But either way, you really should watch Colors of Evil Red. Really intense and interesting and gritty and dark thriller that I really recommend. And thank you guys for checking out this video. Press the like button, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll talk to you soon in another video. Talk to you soon, bye!